So our very first conversation is something that we take so lightly, work-related stress. And it is something that when you're asked, kazi kwaje, wajatuma stress za kazini, so we carry it lightly. But statistics show that 36% of the stress that we carry around, they are all related to the workplace. And to have this conversation with us this morning is psychologist Monica. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Mikali.
And maybe you can now introduce yourself, where you work, where you practice.
Yes, my name is Monica Ngwata.
Yes.
I am a clinical psychologist by profession. I am currently working at Chiromo Hospital Group as a clinical psychologist. And I just love mental health.
Yes.
And just being in this place and talking about work-related stress, I think it's going to impact greatly on how people perform at work. And I'm so glad to do this.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
We're here for it. Like I said, we assume having stress at work is okay, is normal. For the longest time, that's what we say.
Yeah.
But we don't know that that also translates into other parts of our lives.
Actually, yeah. A lot of times people think we have normalized stress at work. And so it is not something we need to seek help for, or it is not something that we just want to work it out. We're like, well, ni kazi tu, I have to put food on the table, I have to make things work, so I don't really care. And then later on, the people who come to us with work-related stress actually come when it is now no longer stress, it's actually depression. And by the time they have noticed it's depression, it's because now they have become dysfunctional in other areas. And so work-related stress is actually something that is really important that people should look at, and even employers look at, so that they can even make their performance really the very best. Otherwise, you don't take care of that, then there's no performance at work.
What are some of the things that we can look at and be like, this is stressing, I can't take this anymore, at this point I need help, this is too much, this is not normal, shouldn't be like this?
Right. Sometimes, you see, while with stress, we all experience stress in different ways.
Yes.
And stress is actually not bad because it pushes us to our end. But to what point do we notice that I actually now need help? So when you find yourself like you finding being very irritable, you're easily irritable, and you don't know why you're irritable at work. In the morning you wake up and don't feel like going to work, and then you're tired all the time. You have body and muscle aches everywhere, and you can't really say what it is. And you find yourself, your concentration is really low. And so you when you get those symptoms put together every other time, then you need to find help, and you need to know that probably this is actually work related. Although stress, the symptoms of stress are very similar, whether it is work related or home or other things, because your body is still the same, expresses itself the same.
Yeah.
However, for work related now, you get to feel like you don't really want to work per se.
Yes.
Or you just get, you're no longer as motivated
as you were before.
Yeah.
When it's in the morning and you have to go there, you hear people say things like, I can't believe I have to go there today again.
Imagine.
You have to sort of like encourage or, raise your spirits.
Yeah.
Intentionally for you to be able to walk in.
And really work really hard to make sure that things get done. You find yourself having to put so much more effort than other people, and you're like, do I really have to do this? So that is something that people normalize, but it's not normal. Because
I'm imagining set up your office, because you've normalized this, it will be like, I think I'm going to see Monica because I feel like I'm stressed and it's in relation to work, and guys will just look at you thinking, we meet 2 deadlines. Yeah, then like, you will be okay.
I mean, why are you nini na kustress? What happened? Like you just came the other day and you're not coping. You see the way people look at you as a weak person, the person who is seeking help, as a weak person, and they're like, oh, she's just so stressed out, she doesn't know how much more we have to do. And it is unfortunate because people have different resilience. powers. And so to some people, and I've found actually, because of our schooling and our system before, thank God for right now, that at least our kids can probably begin to plan for their future as early as now. But for people, like in our days of school, it's if you perform, then you can do medicine, you can do engineering, just because you can perform. So you find yourself, you went to do a course in school, and you were not necessarily passionate, but because you could perform, and then eventually you end up in a job that you don't really like and enjoy. So small pressures here, there, or demands that make you feel not good enough, they can actually bring you really down. And we have many people who are quote unquote misplaced, not necessarily in careers that they would really thrive. But thank God for now. There's art. Nowadays we look at art and
we actually value it. We're like, oh, good stuff, go do it. And interesting that you mentioned that. Yesterday I was having a conversation with one of my guests, and they've come up with something called psychometric career assessment. You know it, which is, you do that as well. Isn't that brilliant?
It is. And we started from as young as, like preschool, not preschool, just when the kids begin to know what they want for themselves, you do those psychometric assessments, and then as people go even well in career, you just want to find which department really suits me most. And if people can actually invest in knowing themselves, knowing their personalities and how best they would find people being able to cope with whichever stresses that come, they are able to cope, because stress is not necessarily bad, but being unable to cope with it is actually the big problem.
And I'm just going to throw this to our audience this morning. Have you experienced stress because of work? The environment there, the culture there, the things that you have to do, you don't feel motivated, probably you just got in because you need to put food on the table, maybe you started something that you are not really passionate about. Have you experienced this? Are you experiencing it now? We have Monica, who's a psychologist in studio, who's going to help you and answer your questions. So send those in, 111 444 111. That is our SMS line. It's just going to cost you $1 for you to do that. And I just mentioned culture, because sometimes it's not even the work. You really like what you do, you're looking forward to go to work, but then you find some office politics or a culture that imekuwa kwa hiyo company for a very long time.
And sometimes people are not considerate with our differences. We have people who have come from different other cultures. Like there's this, when people come to work, some cultures, as long as you're working, we are all competitors. It depends on, who does best, who is outdoing the other person. So the culture of just disregarding everybody else as long as I get there, and it can get really hard on everyone. So that if there's a team leader, they're going to put too much pressure on the rest of the team for themselves, and not necessarily for the team. So that eventually you find yourself, you're not even having boundaries. People in the team are working, way past working hours, because they have this target that they must meet. There's this that must be done, and so they find themselves, there's no work and life balance. You just get, it is work, and you can only do that for so long, and then you're unable to do that.
I think it's just sad sometimes when we become, and it happens a lot in these companies that we work for, where you overwork and you never get the glory. If you're told, good job, you did well, you spent 12 hours on this, but that doesn't happen. Somebody else takes the credit.
And it is sad. I was discussing some of my colleagues, and we discovered people don't necessarily stay in their workplaces because they are necessarily paid very well. It is because they feel valued. If you feel valued, if we come here Mwikali and we're so proud of what you're doing, as the entire team of Switch TV, and they are very happy and appreciate you every morning, then you would want to stay up in a place where there is positive vibes every other time. But if you beat your body every day, even if they give you millions of money, you do not feel valued, and you can't stay there for long. Sometimes, sadly though, we have people who work really hard, And then companies are not paying them well, and they're not appreciating them.
Because there's the thing, when that happens, and you really need to put food on the table, because you can't ignore that.
Yeah.
That, yes, I am in this career, I don't like it, I'd like to be a musician, I would just want to sing. And then our music scene, probably there's not so much money going round, and you do not know anybody to help you with anything in that scene.
Yeah.
So you're stuck here, knowing very well that I just need food on the table. What do I do in that instance? Because I will be stressed, but I have no way out.
Sadly, you know, you cannot do that for so long. But one of the things a person can do is, once you identify, I am here just because I must provide for my family. It is good to be aware that however much you will do that, you can't do it for long.
Okay.
Because your body is going to get worn out, you're going to be emotionally drained, physically, and it is going to affect you at home or every other place. So it is important to begin to plan to plan an exit plan.
Yes.
Have an exit plan.
Okay.
In the thing of, I am here because I must provide, but I am not here for so long.
Yes.
So while I work here, I am working out something else or somewhere else that I can go to. Make those applications without tiring. You know, try these things out. There's, at least nowadays, there's a lot more even online.
Yeah.
You can sell and buy stuff. You can do online writing. There's a lot of ways you can also make money and put food on the table. But just knowing and identifying that I am here for this amount of time, and then after that, I'll be able to move into this other, transition into this next level. Then it helps you just not to be too stressed. Yeah. Helps you know that this is just for a season, as you had said in the quote, that they don't last always. They don't last always.
That's true.
But the strong people will last.
I think that was brilliant, Monica, because most of the times you'll find somebody in a career they don't like, in a situation, a work situation that they are not happy about, but they've resigned to the fact that so this is the only life I can have. But if you keep reminding yourself that there's more, I want more, I need more, then you start planning on that more. And it might not come from this work environments, like just what you said, Monica, that you can start a business on the side that will help you generate. If you want to get into the arts, if you want to start your own business, then you start while you're still employed. Yes.
And that alone helps you not to get stranded again.
That is true.
You know, after leaving, and then you get stranded again. And also, it also helps you know that there's so much more in you, even if whoever else is not appreciating. Yeah. But I'd like to mention something about that. You just mentioned something about feeling you're in this place that this is the end of me. I have to do this.
The fact that this is it.
Yes. And it is always important that people are aware. Anytime you get to a place where you feel this is it, I can't move forward, then this stress is now beyond stress. It has graduated into probably depression. Because depression is a place of helplessness. It is a place of not of feeling that I cannot do it anymore. And that's why sometimes, sadly, we have people go to work, and we have seen over TV, someone goes up to the rooftop and
they
jump
over the balcony or from the rooftop. It's just, it is sad. So because they've gotten to that point, if you have any of experienced work-related stress and you have questions around that, please send them in 111 444 111. We're going to take a very short commercial break. We will be right back. Don't go too far. Welcome back to Full Circle with Mikali. A very good morning to you, and I see your SMSs. Remember, we have gift hampers for you courtesy of Hako Industries, and all you have to do is tell us who you're appreciating and why you are appreciating. Yeah, why do you want to give them this? And you will just be a winner. Just to read a few here. Hello Mikali, looking good. I'm John from Kayole. I want to appreciate my mom today. My business just marked 1 year since we started, and I want to thank and appreciate my mom for always making sure the deliveries I make, the clothes are ironed, because she does the ironing herself. Oh, that's beautiful. Hi, Wikali. The person I appreciate is my mom because of the great things she has done for me. Truly, I would love to appreciate her. Currently, I'm a high school graduate. I am Charity from Nyeri County. I appreciate my sister Faith. I lost my job early this year and I was pregnant. She came through for me with the little she had. Good morning, Wikali. Looking nice and pretty as always. Jerry, always watching the show from K West. Always an educative show, and I love it, love it, love it. Keep your SMSs coming. If you're also experiencing of hard experienced work-related stress before, or you're going through it right now and you have questions, please send them right in 111-444-111, because Monica is here and she will get around to answering your question. Let me just read one for you.
Okay.
Good morning, Wikali. I can totally relate to this topic. My employer used to call us useless and would threaten us every now and then with termination. And this just leads us to just talk about employers, the bosses that we have at these offices that we go to every morning.
It's very sad for, the viewer who said that employers do that.
Yes.
And it's almost like a culture.
Oh.
Like you'll find a big percentage haven't done the research yet, but there are employers who will literally say it to the face of the employees that if you're not performing, you go, and because there are other people who want your job.
Yeah.
And I find that to be very mean. In fact, I was thinking about it this morning. First, you're not paying that employee well.
Nope.
You are inconsiderate of any other thing that they may be going through. And then there's a lot of pressure to perform. Remember, as they are working and they are making business, they are making money come to your company, they are not necessarily only working for themselves, but it's also bringing money to the company.
Yes.
So looking at them with disregard to their effort and what it means for them to wake up in the morning, sit in traffic every morning and evening, and come and say that to them, I think that's the worst thing you can say to anyone.
That is true.
And sadly, it happens so much, and this, not necessarily employer, but this boss who is the boss, there are those ranks. So there's this your boss who says if you don't, this will happen to you. It is unfortunate. And most of the cases that I have had to deal with actually are usually come from bosses who are toxic, sorry to say.
That is true. Don't be sorry. It is very true.
Very toxic.
Very.
And they have pushed their people to the very edge. And because they do know that there's nowhere you're going. And there is a lot of things that employers can do to make their workers perform.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot of things they also can do to make their workers just come because they have to. And I think we need to consider ourselves in the other side of the desk. We usually tell ourselves during our sessions, like, today I am having a patient who's really depressed or having a mental illness, or the relative. They're the ones giving me the story of what they have had to go through. And sincerely speaking, when you're put in their position, you'd probably be very depressed. So employers forget that you can also be on the other side and go through the same thing. They forget that a lot and push their people to the edge. So it's unfortunate.
It is very unfortunate. One more. Hamwikali, I have a boss who always crashes your self-esteem, showing you that you are nothing, yet you're a professional for almost 10 years. She is younger than me and makes me feel like quitting my job. I've tried finding other jobs, but Sipati, what do? I have to stay here for the sake of the bills. So what would you advise for someone who's in this space? They still have to, make the bag, go home. How can they create a safe, healthy environment just for themselves as they do this?
I like the way you put it, a safe, healthy environment for themselves.
Yeah.
You see, we are surrounded by a lot of, things that are not necessarily safe for us. But we need to find our own safe space. So this person is in this toxic environment and they have been planning for an exit plan.
Yes.
And it's not coming through.
Yeah.
So one of the things, because she has gotten to that place, what can I do? if you are boxed in a room like this for so long, all you know is that corner, and this corner, and there's no other way to think. So our minds play tricks with us, and they distort our thinking patterns. And that is a point that we get to, a point of helplessness. And so at this point, I would tell this lady or the person, the viewer, that this is the point to seek for help.
Okay.
This is the point to come to me, to come to any psychologist, and tell them where you are at. And so that you can explore more from a place, from an outside place, somebody watching you from outside and tell you there's actually an exit plan, not necessarily another employment. You know, so at that point, I think she needs to find someone to talk to.
And okay, please, you know, it's interesting sometimes when we hear other people say, and you'd be at a workplace and you'd see people happy around you, and you have stress probably coming from home, getting to work. You already have to deal with what is happening at the office. And then you will see other people who are getting opportunities. They will get opportunities. They keep going. They keep leaving. But you're still stuck there. And you get to a point of, now, maybe what my boss is saying about me is actually true, which isn't.
It is not. And it's the same analogy of just being boxed in the same place. I'll tell you something about what depression or consistent stress does to your mind.
Yes.
If we every day we wake up telling you, we call you beautiful, you have a wonderful voice, you have this, trust me, you, every day you will live that. If we wake up every morning and tell you how ugly you are, how you this, how you can't do it, before you know it, your mind gets to think about it. And so sometimes the biggest limitation of that person is themselves, because of what they have been told. So they can't see any other thing beyond them being pushed on the ground. And so even when other opportunities come, either they choose not to go for them, or they're not proactive to find them, or they just don't believe in themselves, or just because there is that inside of you, you do not attract positive energy. So no one will pick you out. You know? Sometimes people get picked out and you are not picked, and you wonder why. Why? Because it's all here. It's all on your face.
That is what I'm throwing to the world, and it's coming right back to me.
To you, sadly.
That is so sad. Final question before I let you go, Monica. How far is too far?
How far is too far?
To know that this is it. I can't. We feel like, sometimes we feel like we're on a threshold. Just one more month. Another 1 month. How far is too far?
How far is too far? Any point you get to how far is too far is actually too far. You know, when you get to that point, you're like asking and doubting your abilities, doubting your placement, doubting the reasons to live. And it's all related to work and the things around you. That's far. That's too far. Too far. And that is the time you need to seek help. And you cannot imagine how much help there is out there. There is so much help. And sometimes people will come to us when it's already clinical and we have to put you on medication. But if it gets to that point, you feel very helpless.
Then there's help for you.
Yes. And you cannot keep... any toxic environment is not good for anyone. You don't have to stay there for so long.
There's a choice. I think they need to know there's a choice. How can people get in touch with you?
How can people get in touch with me? I work for Chiromo Hospital Group. So one great contact is actually with Chiromo Hospital Group. And we have our numbers. I hope they're going to get displayed. I didn't carry them.
Okay, like but a website perhaps.
We do, yeah. If you Google Chiromo Hospital Group, there are numbers there. And Chiromo has 3 branches. It has a branch in Westlands where I am. It's an acute center where we take patients who are a little bit unstable. And then we have a Bustani where that's like world class. Mental health, you look at it that way and you wouldn't believe that there's so much good things with mental health. And another one in Brayside, that's the places where for hospitalization. But just walk in and walk out for any help, you can always come to us. So Google Chiromo Hospital Group and all information is there.
Asante sana Monica.
You're
Tunashukuru
welcome.
sana.
You're welcome.
Umetusaidia asubuhi.
Yeah,
And I hope
I'm
you
glad
got some
to do
help
that.
as well. I have 5 winners. So I'm going to quickly read the last 3 digits and your name. Please remember to send in your name and where you're watching us from, okay? Good morning, Mikali. I want to appreciate my mama with the hamper. Your number ends with a 215. You haven't left your number. Eric from Ngara, I see you. Thank you for tuning in. And your number ends at 693. Masi from Nairobi, you're appreciating your mom as well. Your number ends at 503. And Maureen from Kahawa West, unasema, my dad having diabetes, high blood pressure for 23 years and still strong in this COVID period. I just want to appreciate him. Your number ends at 239. And Caleb says, I'm grateful for my aunt. She's called Rose. She's been my pillar and she's helped in shaping the man I am. Thanks to her, your number ends at 272. That means we've got 15 more gift hampers for all of you. So stick around, send in those SMSs. We'll be right back after this break.